Hello, hello. Welcome to the YouTube channel of the Optima Method. My name is Saskia, and I'm really excited that you're here to listen and gain hopefully some new tips and tricks on how to project manage your week. We all know that we're always extremely overwhelmed. We have many things to do. I am a mom of three very, very active boys. So I'm constantly on the run, constantly doing things, constantly trying to prioritize my work, and then also managing my family. So this week, what we're going to work on is really seeing how we can prevent ourselves from drifting off course. We all have a plan in mind. We all have things to do. It's Monday. Literally, as I'm recording this, it's Monday. And I have a list of things to do that I want to accomplish by Friday. So, in this episode, I want to really talk about how I manage my week and to be able to call my week successful by the end of the day when I close my laptop on Friday and say, yes, I did exactly what I wanted to do this week. I feel accomplished. I'm successful. I am ready to tackle the weekend and really put my mind to my family and away from work. Okay. So if you see me looking down as well, I've got my show notes here in front of me, and I want to really be able to spend some time to share that content with you today. So you'll see me looking down. I just want to make sure that I'm giving you all of the information that I want to share. So the question here is, have you ever started a Monday with a clear plan only to find yourself on Friday wondering where the week went? Most people don't struggle because they aren't working hard. We all work hard. We all feel like we are putting 110% into our day-to-day work. But there is this struggle because you may think that you don't have a system to manage your priorities, protect your time, and prevent that drift. Meaning that you have a task that you wanted to accomplish and you're drifting to do something else and you're forgetting or not able to get to what you originally started. So we've always all been there. So I want to spend today's training walking you through the exact framework that I use to project manage my week. So I stay focused on what matters most, hitting those deadlines and creating momentum without feeling overwhelmed. So some of these tasks are specific to what I do, and you can definitely listen and see how it needs to tweak for yourself as well. But first thing you need to do is start with your outcomes, right? Before you ever open your inbox or create a task list for the week, define what you're trying to accomplish for the week. Ask yourself what must be completed by Friday for this week to be considered successful. Because if you can't answer that by Friday, you're going to feel like you didn't get anything accomplished. You're going to be depressed. You're not going to be happy. You're going into the weekend with a very heavy mind and a lot of weight on your shoulders because you weren't able to accomplish what you wanted to do. So we want you to walk into the weekend relieved and making you feel good about what you accomplished during the week. So a couple things I recommend selecting is like one major priority, maybe two or three supporting priorities, and then some daily operational tasks. So a couple of examples that are mine. A major priority for me is to launch a new SOP template. That's an example. So a document getting those pre-populated and putting it to use so the team can really take action on those. If you feel like that major priority is important to you, but you don't have the time to fill out or complete an SOP, I do have pre-populated SOPs readily available, easy download, click of a button, where you can then adapt it to your business or your team as well. So I'll put the link to the link in the show notes for you to access that as well. A couple of supporting priorities for me would be recording podcast episodes, publishing YouTube trainings, and then maybe making some updates to the website landing page, because everything that we document, it's static in one moment, but then we pivot, we change, and things change over time. So you're always fine tuning a guitar. So just make sure that you keep track of what needs to be adjusted when, and that way you are planning for that as well. Couple of daily operations things to think about is your client meetings. Those are consistent on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. Email responses, those flow in very quickly. And then team support. Your calendar and your task list should always align all of these priorities. So if you don't have it documented in your calendar, block that time, start that today, pause this video, get that situated, and move on. But just make sure that you document your task list, your tasks that you need to do in your calendar, because that's how you're going to keep yourself accountable as well. Because remember, if everything is important, nothing is important. So if you feel like you're constantly churning, you know that it's not documented, it's not in your calendar, you can't hold yourself accountable. And guess what? On Friday, you're going to feel like you never accomplished anything. Okay. So step number 2 is you're going to create your weekly project plan. Sounds nuts, I know, but by having a project plan in place, you can hold yourself accountable as the owner, but also for the individuals that you may rely on some feedback, right? So treat your week like a project. Every project needs a deliverable. So what needs to be completed? Each project needs tasks. So what activities support the completion? You need to have the owners to know who's responsible. And then, of course, the due dates. You need to know when things need to be finished by. Some tasks may take longer than others, so prioritize it. If you have some that are quick wins, do those early on, knowing that you can get those quickly off your plate. Guess what? By Friday, you're going to be so happy that those 3 tasks that were 5-minute tasks were done earlier in the week and you got them off your plate. You accomplish it by Friday, you are going to feel successful. Okay? So, this all creates visibility and accountability. So to put it in perspective, like the recording the podcast, the owner is me. The due date will be to have that completed by Tuesday. And you can have a status of not started, in progress, or on hold because you're waiting on something. Use the same statuses as in the project plan as well. Step number 3 is you need to time block your priorities. A task without time assigned is simply a wish, hoping that you get to it, hoping that you might get it done. So schedule your priorities directly in your calendar. So as an example here, the way that I have it is on Mondays from 8 to 10, I've got strategic planning. 10 to 12 is client work, client calls, preparation of agendas, meeting notes, everything for the week. And then as the day goes on, you can fill in the gaps as well. Some of the tasks that you put in place can be reoccurring. So use a reoccurring option in your calendar to schedule this every single week. So it becomes a systematic habit as well. On Tuesdays, an example, you do podcast recording and content development. Wednesday is the document creation. Thursdays are meeting and follow-ups. And Friday is your weekly review of everything that you've accomplished. So protect these blocks like client meetings. It's okay if you decline a meeting because you're busy in that particular block because you've got things to do. It's okay to ask them to reschedule to a different time, unless, of course, it's a client meeting which is highly escalated. You absolutely have to be there. Of course, that takes priority. So just be mindful of how you say no to things or what you say no to. But in the end, prioritize your week, put it in your calendar, block off the time, and focus that time as well. Then step number 4 is creating a daily reset system. One of the biggest reasons people drift is because they never stop to evaluate progress. So spend 10 minutes at the end of every day reviewing what was completed, what did I not get to that needs to be finished by the end of this week, what changed, and what needs attention tomorrow. So that is kind of your reset for the following day. Should not take more than 5 to 10 minutes. But at the end of the day, if you do that, you're already set up for success the following day to take action on the tasks that you're set to do. Again, structure your day. This daily reset helps identify risks before they become problems. So you can already see if you're going to miss a deadline, where you can already start articulating it, right? Think of it like checking your GPS during a road trip. Are you still on the right track, or did you hit roadblocks? Small corrections preventing major detours, right? So I know this is crazy to talk about a GPS and how you follow, but if you take a wrong left turn somewhere, you know you're going to have to go back around and get back on the main road, right? So it's kind of funny, but it's literally just like that. Then step number 5, watch for the signs of drift. right? Drift happens gradually. It's not suddenly that you hit a roadblock, it's there. But if you're slowly seeing the needle move, but not moving the right direction, you're drifting already, right? Here are some common warning signs that I would like to share with you. If you're constantly reacting to something, right? The task continually move to the next week or the next day. You can't get something accomplished by the end of the week on Friday, if that was your due date and you can't get it and you move it to the next week and you still didn't get to it. And then the next week, you're weeks behind at that point, right? So if you start moving things and start drifting, you're going to start missing deadlines. So if tasks continually move, you're going to either react constantly, then you're going to start missing deadlines. But this all can be because of priorities changing. So if you have priorities that change, if somebody comes to you and said, hey, Saskia, I need this done right now, but you have 10 other things to do, think about how to prioritize it. And it's okay to say no and ask if the person says, well, I need this done by Tuesday at 12 o'clock, but you have something else due on Tuesday at 12 o'clock, you can always tell that person saying, no, I have a different priority. Or you can go to your manager and say, which one is more important? Things can get figured out as long as you're open with the communication and help articulate that to the individuals who are coming to you with competing priorities. Open up to them. Let them know what your priorities are and see what can shift and what can be pushed back, because what you'll realize is you have a bigger chance of realignment of your priorities and still being able to get it done by Friday if you have two tasks due at the same time, because of the conversations and communication and realignment. You'll be surprised that actually works. Then if you can't explain your top priorities, you don't have a clear focus. That's another shift and drift where it doesn't work for you. So think of that as well. If you don't have a clear focus, if you don't know the why behind something and you want to understand why you're doing something, sometimes it's asking that question. And believe it or not, sometimes if you question why you have to do something, some people may come back, oh, like, don't worry about it because it's just admin work. It's not important, but they're asking you to do it. Of course, you have to understand the why behind it to understand why you're doing something. That's the way you learn as well. And then last but not least, if you have too many tasks open, your projects are going to accumulate without completion. And if you recognize these signs, pause and reassess, you're going to end up being successful, because you can ask yourself, what outcome am I actually trying to achieve here? What makes me move the needle on the board, right? Because in the end, you're responsible for those tasks. And if you can't meet all the deadlines, if you can't meet the task, and if you can't accomplish it, you're going to suffer. So project plan your week, block off your priorities, and work through the task. And the moment you start seeing things shift or you have too many tasks, open up to it. Open up to your manager, open up to yourself, try and figure out what is more important and see what you need to shift so you don't drift. Okay. Then step 6, conduct a Friday project review. So every Friday, review your week. And it's kind of like your lessons learned. What worked well, what didn't work, what created delays, and what should be adjusted for the next week. So document your completed tasks, open up tasks that still need to be adjusted or things that ended up drifting. Look at it from a lessons learned perspective. What worked well, what didn't work well, and then start working on next week's priorities. It's okay if things don't get accomplished by Friday, as long as you set clear expectations with yourself, but also with those that you are reporting to or sharing those tasks with. Everybody needs to be aware of what's going on. So this is exactly what project managers do throughout major initiatives. And so the same discipline should be applied to your personal workload as well. Okay. Then build a repeatable weekly system. The goal isn't to create a perfect week. That is just impossible. But the goal is to create a repeatable system so that you know exactly what happens on what day and when you need it done by. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, there will be things that you're going to put on your calendar that is used to be repeatable week of week. Use a reoccurring selection to put it on your calendar week of week. So you already know what's blocked, you already know what needs to be done. And if you start getting in those habits, work gets easier. It's phenomenal, right? If you end up putting those tasks in place, work gets done and it becomes easier, right? Don't work harder, work smarter here. So when your week follows a predictable structure, decision fatigue decreases and then consistency increases. And that's where true productivity comes from. It's crazy, right? So now I do hope that you're going to be able to take some of these steps, implement them today. Again, I've got more links to templates, to additional training in the show notes for you to access. I've got a lot of free content out there for you to use. Hopefully you learn something. So if this training really helped, take a moment, hit subscribe, leave a review because that helps other people see how this may apply to them. And then share this YouTube video with somebody else that you think may see some value in it, right? So share it with somebody who really would value some structure in their lives, in their work week, even from a day-to-day perspective, okay? So a couple key takeaways from this on how to project manage your week effectively. You're going to be able to define your weekly outcomes. You're going to be able to build a simple project plan. You're going to be able to time block your priorities, complete daily resets. Don't forget to do those every single day for 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes max. Watch the signs for drift where you're not going to meet those deadlines. Conduct a weekly review on Friday. Reflect back on what you did, and then create those repeatable systems. So remember, success isn't about doing more. It's actually about consistently executing the right priorities. And the best way to prevent drift is to build a system that keeps bringing you back to what matters most. I'll see you in the next training. Thank you for tuning in.